What's up, guys? So today we're winging this. We really don't have an idea. We don't have a plan yet. So we're just going winging it, you know. So
We're gonna wing it, right? We're just gonna wing it. You know, kind of wing it, like when you're winging it. You know, like when you're like kind of winging it, where you don't really know what you're doing, so you're winging it. Well, how many times are you gonna say that word, dude? Come on.
yeah, guys, we're winging it. We're winging it. We're winging
I'm
it.
clowning him in front of y'all because he's
Actually, kind of stupid. Little did you guys know. But we're just gonna say what's on our mind. Pretty much, it's gonna be a normal conversation.
You don't gotta tell him something. I'm gonna talk to you. All right, we're just gonna sit here and talk, and y'all want to listen, y'all can listen.
Literally. By the way, you're gonna need to speak up for this because
Last time I didn't talk loud enough.
it's not only that; it's the fact that it's way over there.
It's kind of gotta be back far. You can't get the whole singing, you know.
Yeah.
Don't be
But
scared.
Get me in the dark here.
So we'll be enjoying ourselves tonight. Thank you for joining us. Anyways, okay. So, was you hear on the fake news lately?
Well, fake news.
Fake news.
I don't watch any of the damn news.
You get your stuff from I don't think I'll go flag for this. Timcast RL.
I do watch them, and a little bit of Daily Wire,
Daily Wire's nice.
but a lot of stuff going on out there.
There is. It's almost too much to cover. I mean, like, he has, like, millions of subscribers. I guess we just have to be more interesting. More people to cut us off. Like, you're going to be talking, we'd be like, yeah, they said, no. It's going to be just some woke woman over here trying to cut you off because she's trying to get in what she has to say. You know, little Kamala Harris thing. I'm talking.
That would have, yeah, but that was Trump's soundbite as I'm talking here. What did he say? Excuse me, I'm talking. Sound familiar?
That's exactly what he said.
He's a character. I like that guy.
Well, but as you can see, where am I back on? We're shooting it over
I
here.
don't think they can see anything. It's dark.
I mean, they can see the flag.
I don't know what they. I can see it. I guess if I look at the camera a little bit.
It's not the Libyan flag. Calm down.
Libyan. Shut the hell up.
Libya. That's a
I
country.
know what you meant.
But
I'm not Dar.
Oh God! Look, you came to wreck the party.
Oh, I know who it is. Now the dog's gonna be barking at her.
Oh God! It's jumper.
Until she decides to whoop her ass.
So, today was a pretty weird day. It's Friday the 13th. You know, chi ha ha. It's just been a crazy day, especially here in Tennessee.
You guys had a little scared to school today. Of course, they sent out messages yesterday, so I knew what was going on. Even before that, the school system was pretty good.
Look at my post and my shorts, my first short, right there. You'll get more background info there because I don't think I can say it here without getting canceled.
So what, freedom of speech, anything?
Oh yeah, freedom of speech. Alright, I'm gonna cover it then. Okay, so what happened is some kid at
Some school.
some school, can't specify.
I don't know what school it was myself. I just know it was a school not far from here.
I know what school it was, but I will not specify.
Called in a threat.
I don't
Doesn't
specify.
matter what the threat is. And they dealt with it. They did very good. They prevented anything from happening. So
Sad part is,
we can leave it at that.
sad part is at the school that it was at, there was a cop for every 25 feet of the school. So that means they were just swarming the place. They had a canine unit and stuff, is what I heard. But I don't really know anything other than that little bit. Don't know whatever happened, but all I do know is there was 11 people involved. I'll leave it at that. I'll let
You don't
guys
even know
decide.
that. It's what you heard.
No, it's not what I heard. It's so the kid who did it sent out a
Okay.
message of it.
But all this that you're talking about is what you've been told. You didn't read it anywhere. It wasn't directly on the news. So therefore, it's only hearsay. It's what you have heard.
Look, I won't argue with him on live because I'm gonna get beaten down. He's the guy with the
All I'm saying is
AR,
don't-
I'm the guy with the stick.
All I'm saying is, don't say it as if it's fact when you don't have all the facts. Because you don't. Son, I've told you before, right? A man is only as good as his word. You should always do your best to speak the truth. Right? You should always do the right thing, and you should always try to do your best to speak the truth.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to do sometimes.
But I will say this: I do have the messages.
You can't speak the truth if you don't know the truth. So therefore, if you do not say that it's hearsay, and you make it as if, oh no, I'm saying this is how it is, and you're putting your name on it, then your word ain't worth shit.
That's wild. I thought I had value, guys.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you make sure to speak the truth, then your word has merit. When people get to know you, they know they can take you at your word. You're trustworthy.
Right.
Now let's face it. If the economy crashed tomorrow, money be worthless, people wouldn't be working, right? There's no reason to work. Let's talk worst case scenario, right? Because there is a good chance with everything going on, we could end up without electricity, without food, without water. And why? Why would we end up that way? Because the way things are being run in our government right now, and everything getting sky high and nobody can afford nothing, it's going to get to a point where the inevitable happens. You see, right now, all this weight's being put on everybody, and there's no resources at the lower level to keep these people where they're able to hold all this shit up. So, when the people can't afford to live anymore, when working becomes pointless, or when civil society crashes and there's nobody to run the power grid, there's nobody to run the banks, there's nobody to run the stores, there's nobody driving the trucks to get the food. You understand? When all this stuff happens and you get back into kind of the Stone Age state where all you have to rely on is each other, if you can't trust me at my word, do you understand?
Yeah. 100%.
That's where I'm going with this. You have to look at it, take away all the niceties, take away all the amenities that you have around you right now here in society. Right? You think about that. Take that all away, and what's left? Our simple human nature. How we treat each other. And let's be honest, human nature is ugly. It really is. As soon as the shit hits the fan, everybody starts going crazy. It's already a me world. It gets 10 times worse when the shit hits the fan.
Right.
When the supermarkets no longer have food, people are going to start robbing people's houses trying to get what they can from the people they can get it from.
It's the sad truth. We'll kill each other.
So human nature in reality is ugly. Okay? But even still, rest assured For example, we're in a state where everybody's out of food. People are looking. They know they're going to come after somebody for it, right? But they know me from even before this shit hit the fan. And if I said I was going to be there on Tuesday at 4 o'clock to do something, I was there Tuesday at 4 o'clock to do it. If I said I was going to lend them something, I lent them something. If I said something happened, you bet your ass that's exactly what happened. And if I was unsure of it, I would say, to the best of my knowledge, this is what happened. This is what I know for a fact, and this is where it gets shady. So they already know they can trust me at my word. So when I look at them and I say, this house is off limits or I'll fucking kill you, then they know they can trust me at my word. It's not a threat, it's a promise. I'm not threatening nobody, I'm not going out, I'm not trying to kill nobody. I'm going to defend my house. And if you come to me and try to take what's mine, you're going to have to take it by force. That means I'm going to get hurt. And when it comes down to you and me, it's going to be you.
Yeah, because the other one with the pistol.
Because I'm going to kill you before you kill me. Plain and simple. And if I tell you that, then you can take me at my word. And then you know not to fuck with me.
You heard it from the
It's
man
just
himself.
really happened.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why your word is important. When you give somebody your word, no matter what it is, you got to do what you say. Mean what you say and say what you mean. Otherwise, don't say it. Now you can joke, you can play, you can kid, and you can tell someone, hey man, I was just fucking with you.
Yeah, with other people.
If they thought you were serious.
You can kid and you can kiss.
Okay? 95% of people's conversations is bullshit. Think about it.
It's a sad
You're just
truth.
sitting around passing time talking. You're bullshitting. Some of it will have truth, but the majority of it's bullshit.
Right here.
And sometimes the truth is bullshit. For example, hey man, it's been a while since I seen you. How you doing? What you been up to? It's a
Wrong.
bullshit question. We're bullshitting. You understand? True or false, it could still be bullshit. Because you're bullshitting, you're talking. But know that you can take somebody at their word and they take you at yours. Remember in the old days it used to be a handshake and they say, no man, get it in writing now. Get it in writing, get it in writing. Yeah, you should get some things in writing. Pretty much everything, you know, when it considers time and money. Because over time people forget things they said. So get it in writing. That make sense?
Right.
But if you speak the truth, when you do forget what you said, you can tell them, look, I really don't remember. I may have said that, but I don't think I did. It's not in my character. You know, it's like, I know me. I don't remember what I said, but I know me. And I wouldn't have said that. And if people know you, they can say, yeah, you wouldn't have said that. You know, like I can tell you, I have never, in all honesty, I've never threatened anybody in my entire life. Besides my
Jokingly.
kids. No, my kids. You guys are the only ones I've ever had to threaten. Think about this. We're getting in the car ride. We're going to be in the car for 2 hours, right? You listening? We're going to be in the car for 2 hours. We're going on a trip to Nana's house. I don't want to be yelling at you the whole damn trip. So what do I tell you? You get out of line on this trip and I'm going to whoop your ass. I just threatened you. It's a promise too, but it's a threat. You understand? But aside from that, I've never really threatened anybody. I don't think I have any. I don't remember ever doing it. But it's possible, but I don't remember ever doing it. No, actually, I take that back. I did threaten one kid when I was younger.
I told you you threatened somebody. You
No,
had
I did.
To.
I remembered it. I just remembered it.
What was the threat?
He stole my car. Right?
That's wild.
And when I found out it was him, I knocked on his door. His mom answered the door. And I showed her a noose and told her if her son didn't get my car back, I was going to hang him.
What's the news?
I was going to hang him.
Oh.
I told her I pointed a light post in front of the house. I'm going to hang him from that light post.
You should have said, I got the suey rope here. I'm coming for
But-
that kid.
But I was like, in all honesty, I was like 18. And I just bought the car. Literally, I'd only had it like a month. Okay? I had two 12-inch speakers in the back, 1,000-watt amp, nice stereo system for it. had all that stuff put in, and then I'm trying to remember what it was, but I had to take it to a shop to get it fixed. And the kid that stole it worked on it in that shop.
Oh boy.
So I went to his house. I found out who he was. I went to his house and I told his mom, if your son doesn't bring back my car, I'm gonna have him. It's the only person I ever threatened in my life. But I did remember it when we were just talking.
Guys, don't
And, but, no, I didn't hang him. Like the next day, he came up my house with a bunch of people wanting to fight. And it was crazy. No, it was crazy, okay? Because we all lived in the hood. And he was a white kid that stole my car. Alright? And of course, I'm white. But he was a white kid that stole my car. Apparently his cousin was black and lived up on the Hill District. And they all come down. I mean, there were so many of them that somebody saw them and called the police. Okay? Because I didn't call the police. We didn't even have a phone.
Kool-Aid gang.
Right? So there's a knock at my door, and I open my door. There's nobody in front of it, but I look out. He's halfway up the street. So he knocked and he ran. And I looked out there, and he's like, "What's up? You gonna hang me or something like that?" He threw his hands up. And then there was 3 other white kids behind him. One of them was short, heavy set, kind of stocky. And there was 2 other white kids.
Your brother come out, huh?
And my brother and my friend, whose name was Don also. It was just 3 of us. Okay? 3 of us.
You weren't supposed to mention his name.
I can say his first name.
Oh.
There's 3 of us. Right? It was me, Don, and Don. Okay?
Don and Don.
And we're, it's like, okay, there's 4 of them and there's 3 of us. So we go outside, we're like, fuck it. Okay? Now they're about maybe from here to our fence away, which is about 50 feet. That's how far they ran away, right? To talk shit from. Yeah, what's up, man, what's up? Okay? But you go about another 100 foot up around the bend, all of a sudden, there were so many black dudes. Okay? Like they almost like side by side took up the whole alleyway. And I mean, look, we're talking almost 30 years, okay? There was a lot. And they come around the corner, and then all of a sudden they put the brakes on. Like they stopped, and there was 50 feet between them and the 4 white dudes. And one of them yells, hold up, and they all stop. And these 4 white dudes turn around. And this one black dude comes out to the front of the crowd, and he goes, "Oh, you're messing with so-and-so?" Because he knew us, right? He said our last name, not our first name, so you knew he knew us. He goes, "Y'all messing with them?" He goes, nah. Like that. He just did that with his hand. Just like that. Every single black person there turned around and walked away. And all that was left was 4 white kids who turned around and now had the fear of God in their eyes. They were pale. They were like, why the fuck did these guys that we brought see them and say, fuck no, and they turned and left? Okay? Now, these kids that stole my car, who was working at that shop, he was only like 16, 17. And at this time, I'm like 19, so I'm a couple years ahead of him, right? And his cousin and them, they were like 19. But they were the ones we used to party with back in the day. So when there was trouble or there was a fight or whatever, we had their back, they had ours. So when they come around the corner and they see it's us, they're like, hey, we're out. We ain't fucking with them, they're our boys. You got yourself in this mess, get yourself out. Right?
Yeah.
So, as they turn around to walk away, police come in from every fucking angle.
It's the Kool-Aid gang.
Okay? No, I'm serious. Police come in from every angle. There's like 10 fucking cars. 2 coming up this way, 2 coming around this way, 2 coming this way. They're coming up this way. You know? Because where we lived, you had the main street, there was an alleyway coming like this, there was a secondary alley like this that met with ours. They hit the main street here, and then the other main street was back here. So police were coming up all these off of the main streets. And they just started grabbing people.
Even you?
Oh yeah, they grabbed me too. I didn't know who called them, right? So they're questioning us. Like they got us up against the fence and shit like that. You know, 19, 18-year-old kid. I didn't know much about my rights. I did, but I didn't.
Big one.
You know what I mean? Like, because I learned that stuff in school and everything, but I knew. But at the same time, it wasn't one of those things where I was like hardcore with it. You know, like, no man, I ain't saying shit. I got a right to be silent and stuff. Okay. So the police are there, and I really didn't do nothing wrong. These kids came to my house, right? I'm like, so I just tell the cop, hey man, they came here. I live right there, and pointed to my house. He goes, you live here? I'm like, yeah, I don't know what they came up here for. Right? Meanwhile, I knew exactly what they were there for. I was playing a little dumb at the same time, you know. I don't know what they came up here for. So we're just chilling now. We're there, and the police are there. And I said, the cop looked at me and he says, well, what the hell's going on? I said, the only thing I know is that guy right there stole my car, and now he wants to fight me over it. And I had called the police just 2 days earlier and reported my car stolen. And he was a known car thief, and one of the cops there actually had arrested him for stealing cars in the past. So he did. He arrested him, put him in the back of the car, said, you know, he's like, we're going to take him down to the station and question him, the cop says to me. He says, but if he doesn't admit it, you know, without the car and without fingerprints, I really got nothing on him. I mean, the cop tells me this while he's in the car. I'm like, that's all right. I said, don't you worry about it. You know, I did. I told him, I said, don't you worry about it. Just do what you got to do. Right? So the cop walks away. And I don't remember exactly how it happened because the windows were down about this far in the back of the police car. And the guy leans over and he says out the window after the cop walked away on this side, where I was at, and we talked. Because he's on the passenger side, we're on the driver's side. Another cop put him in. And this cop was talking to me. So after this cop walks away, he leans over and says out the window, which is down about this far, get rid of the cops and I'll get your car back. But what he didn't realize was the other cop was by the other window, and he goes, so you did take it.
It was the other cop.
The windows, like I said, they were down about that far. Just the way everything happened that day, it was just like, it was crazy. You know, and technically I probably should have went to jail for showing his mom the rope and said, I'm a fucking hanger. You know what I mean?
They can't do anything about it. It's like 30 years ago.
No, I know that now, but at the time, and I wouldn't have done it. I don't know why I said it. I think I was half drunk when I said it too, even at 19. I remember when my car got stolen that night, I had my buddy over. He's dead now. But he laughed at me the next day. He's like, dude, he says, you were standing against the wall, sound asleep, snoring, with your eyes wide open. He says, and then you go, hello, my car was stolen. And then you just kind of like threw your feet out and fell straight on your ass as you slid down the wall. Blam! And then your eyes shut and you went, you know, he's making fun of me. But I was hurt, man. And the reason I was drunk, I'll tell you, I got drunk. Because I just bought that car for about $2,000. And I put about $4,000 worth of work into it. And in 1990, it wasn't an easy thing to do. It's even harder now. But, you know, I think I was making like $7.25 an hour. Maybe around that time I was making $13 an hour.
Were you?
I might have been making $13 an hour.
Was it at like a local grocery store?
No, I was an apprentice for a roofing company.
Oh. Didn't you?
But I don't remember anything. It's a long time ago. My point is that it was a crazy day. And in some weird way, everything worked out. And the only reason we got on that conversation was I remembered one guy in my entire life that I threatened.
Hey.
I only partially don't remember it because, like I said, I believe I was drunk at the time. And I'm not really the type to threaten people.
A white kid yelled, "Black!" And then all the cops pulled up and they yelled, "Where?"
That's stupid.
It's supposed to be stupid. How many cops were there?
I didn't count. There was a lot. All I know is, I didn't call them. Those people that we were going to fight, they definitely didn't call them. Because they were coming for trouble. They were coming to fight. You know what I mean? And they brought a whole bunch of backup. They wanted to make sure they were going to get the job done. And I was probably dumb enough to stand there and try to fight them all at that time.
The cops or the...
The kids that were coming after us.
Oh.
I mean, the 4 white kids that were there. If once the other black kids that came around, some of them had to be men, in their 20s. But for the most part, they were between 16 and 20, 22, somewhere in that age range. I was in the same age range. And I'm so confident that if they would have said, "Get them," and they would have all charged, then I would have took out, me and my brother alone would have took out the 4 white dudes like they were nothing. But then it would have been fighting until we collapsed, or until they got the better of us, whatever came first. Because there was a lot of them. I mean, there was a lot. There was more than 30, I'll tell you that. Like I said, like side by side, maybe about this much room in between them, they took up the whole entire alleyway, which you could put 2 cars side by side and pass each other, because there was room to park and get on by. And it was wide, a good 10, how wide would you say that? Maybe about 20 feet wide?
Yeah.
And they were almost shoulder to shoulder, as wide as the whole alley, and they went back a good ways.
So they were just...
Oh, they were coming down because I guess their cousin told them that something happened, and they were coming down to whoop some ass. And I wasn't going to run. What was I going to do? Run in my house and hide? I mean, I probably could have ran in and barricaded the doors, but eventually I got to leave my house. Eventually I'm going to see these people again. And if you run and hide like a little bitch, then good luck the next time you come out. So you can't just be a bitch, You got to take the ass whooping. Even if you lose, you lose. But you got to get out there. You got to throw the duck, dodge. I don't know. I've been pretty lucky, man. I've been in a lot of fights, but I've been pretty lucky. And the reason I say I've been pretty lucky is, okay, I'm quick. I can always, move my head, right? I've been hit a lot, but I've never lost my teeth. So I must have been able to pull out of it far enough away to not get the damage, or maybe just not get hit enough because I was, fast enough. It doesn't take much. Just one fight, get hit one time, knock your teeth loose, or even out.
Hey,
I've been lucky.
half the fights.
But anyways.
Half the fights that he was in, he was probably the starter of them.
No, I've never started a fight, and I've never, ever hurt anybody in any way, shape, or form who did not try to hurt me first. I can promise you that.
Well, it probably was at least once when you were young.
Mm-mm. Nope, not at all.
I mean, like, in kindergarten, man, I was savage. I was shoving crayons up people's noses.
I'll put it to you this way, okay?
Shove Play-Doh in their mouths.
All right. Back on that same story. Okay. I would have went out there and I would have fought. Win or lose, it didn't matter to me. I had done what I had to do. And if I didn't, then that would have mean I left my brother there by himself with all them people. And that ain't happening either. So, there was a time when we were younger though. Some guys are trying to jump us. I'm like, fuck, come on, man. It ain't that far. We can make it home. Let's go. Because they were coming, right? Like, all right. My brother was so fucking mad at me because there was time. It ain't like they were right here and they just grabbed us and the fight started. They were like, "There's those two. Let's fucking get them." But they were like 100, 200 feet away, and I was like, "There's too many of them, man. Let's run." And I turned and ran, and my brother ran towards him.
So who turned around?
I ended up having to go back to the fight, but you know, it was a little late by the time I started fighting because I already ran the other way. Sometimes you got to be smart. You know what I'm saying? If you got plenty of room and there's like 30 dudes and there's just 2 of you, come on, dude. But anyhow, back on that one, you're at your house. They know where you live. What are you gonna do? Hide inside your house? So you come out and someone's hiding up around the corner waiting for your ass. So you got to do it. You got to take the ass whooping if you have to. But either way, it didn't matter because in that case, I was in the right 100%. I took my car there. I paid him to work on it, and then he stole my car. I was in the right 100%. I was in the wrong when I threatened to hang him. But when he come around the corner with all them people, and then they turned, you should have saw the look in those 4 guys' face. And I say kids because I'm thinking back, and that's what they are compared to me now. But there was only maybe a year or 2 difference in our ages, up and down, no matter who they were back then. But they were scared, and they should have been.
They had to wear brown and yellow pants that day.
I'm just saying, and they should have been. And it's a good thing it didn't go the way that it could have, because I probably would have went to jail for assault, and if someone would have died, it could have been worse. Think about that. So it's probably best that it went the way that it went, all things considered. It's crazy that the police showed up, I'll tell you that.
Did he go to jail? Did he get charged with it?
He went to jail, and then his cousin showed up at my house a few days later and said, "Drop the charges, and I'll get your car back. No questions asked. Exactly how you left it." And I said, "Okay. You don't have to worry about it." And they knew me, right?
Right.
They knew me. I was a man of my word. In fact, the ones that turned around and went like this and they left, he was the cousin that they were friends with. So he came to my house. Hey. And I was respectful to him because he came to my house. That's respect. Him by himself knocked on the door. "Yo, I'm here on behalf of my cousin, man. You want to talk?" And that was it. We talked. We made agreements, shook hands. I got my car back the next day, and I dropped charges.
What type of car was it?
Cutlass.
Is that a car brand?
Oldsmobile, Cutlass.
Was it a good car?
It wasn't the best car in the world. I mean, it was just a car. Talking back in 1992.
It's for me to be.
The car was an 82, so it was 10 years old. And it had a 400 big block in it.
Just like me, I'm big.
So what had happened was after we got it, my brother and I, we did a little work to it. It made it run a little better. And like I said, something happened that I could not fix because I couldn't figure out what the heck the problem was at the time or whatever. I don't remember. Maybe I could have fixed it, but I was too lazy or I had too much other stuff going on. And I was like, you know what, I'll just take it to this garage. And I took it to the garage, and the kids stole my car.
Me personally, I wouldn't take that disrespect. That's like that one white kid that's gonna stand up and be like,
You say
"All right, man."
you said don't take no disrespect like that. I'm lucky. I could have got killed over a fucking car.
By them.
I was stupid. I was in the right because they took my car. But I was stupid.
Just like all teenagers pretty much are. They weren't. You weren't stupid. You just acted.
No, I was stupid. Everything that I shouldn't have done, I did. Plain and simple.
And that's just.
Because even though as a man, some of my emotions did get in my way, and I did get pissed off. I was like, you know what? I got a good $6,000 in this fucking car, and you just want to take it from me? Because, why? Because you want what I have, and you don't want to pay for it yourself? You don't want to do the work yourself, and you're going to take what I have? No. I wasn't going to stand for it.
So you did steal it.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. The way the cop stuck his head in that window, because he come right down in with his mouth right in the crack. So you did steal it. And he looked at me, he's like, dude, I'll make sure you get your car back. But he didn't want me to press charges because the day he stole my car, the day I reported it stolen, he stole it and drove it to a court hearing he had where he was going to court for stealing another car.
See, that's kind of flat out stupid.
And the thing that upset me the most about him stealing my car, I'll tell you what upset me the most about it. I just put all that money into it. Okay? I just put all that money into my car. I rode it around for about 500 to 700 miles because what would happen was we'd bored the engine out 10 microns over.
Microns.
Okay?
Jesus.
So we had bored the motor out. We put bigger pistons in it. We put a high race camshaft in it, roller rockers and all that stuff. And I'd done all this work to it. And since it had all these new parts, I wanted to give it new break-in miles. I wanted to give it about 500 miles. So I did about 500 to 700 miles where I didn't take that car over 55 miles an hour. I didn't gun it. I gave it gas slowly, and believe me, when you gave it gas, it wanted to go. You give it a little bit of gas, it was spinning tire. So I got to that like 700 mile marker. All right, I got underneath the car. I drained the oil. Okay, I drained the oil. The plug from the oil was in the thing. I didn't take the filter out yet, but I did drain the oil. I went in the house to go to the bathroom, and my brother was there, and it was I believe it was a Saturday, or maybe a Friday morning. I was off work that day, so I don't remember if it was a Friday or Saturday. All right, but my brother had had a party the night before, and there were some girls over. And I went in the morning, I had to go to the bathroom, and I saw some girls were in there, and I started shooting the shit, talking to them. One thing led to another. I'm upstairs banging some shit. And I hear my dad yell up the stairs. Because he lives, we had a duplex that we had bought and started fixing up. My dad was living in one side, we were living in the other. So my dad comes from his house to mine, and my brother is over because we shared a place, you know. And he's got these girls, and he had a little party. I come home, change my oil. I come in, there's these girls. I'm upstairs. I just met her. Within 20 minutes, we're upstairs. We're doing our thing. And my dad goes yelling upstairs. He's yelling both of our names. But I'm not answering him because I'm in the middle of something. He's got to wait. And then I hear the car start up. Now my brother's car and my car sound almost identical. We both got 400 big blocks. We both got roller rockers and, you know, all that stuff. Okay, he's got a Firebird and I got a Cut.
Firebird's nice.
And I hear the car start up to take off, and I'm like, Dad's going to the store. He was borrowing Dawn's car. I finish up. I get rid of this chick. I'm getting ready to go out and go work on my car, and my car's gone. I'm like, fuck. I go into the living room, and Dad's sitting on the couch.
Shit. Who stole it? Was it Dawn?
No, it was the kid that worked on my car, that worked on it. The one that was stole it to go do all that shit. But that was why it got stolen. But it got stolen with no oil in it. He broke down the steering column and drove off with my car with no oil in the engine. But I did use that Slick 50 stuff back in the day when I first did it. And I'll tell you, that shit, it worked. The engine, they drove that thing 100 and some miles from my house with no oil. It ran out of gas, got picked up and towed in. And when I went to pick it up, I brought the oil plug with me and some fresh oil, dumped it in, and started right up. It didn't even tick. So that's why I say I trust that Slick 50 stuff. But I gotta watch, they'll probably flag you for that. Sit down.
Alright. I'll say we keep this going for at least another 10 minutes, then we shut this down.
Well,
Unless we want to keep going.
I was going to talk to you about something else a moment ago in the conversation we were talking about.
Go ahead.
All right. Where
Talk about your friend.
one of the things that I've always done, I actually was talking with Mom about this earlier. Mom and I were talking. You know, I said, you always have to say what you mean what you say, keep your word, and you know, back to doing the right thing, right? When I was younger, okay, like I told you about how I told you about how when I was a baby, the things that happened, how I was born. I don't want to get into all that. I don't want to share that with people out here.
Alright. Something else or it's like a different time?
But I didn't raise you guys Catholic. I didn't raise you Christian. I didn't raise you any of that.
I would prefer Christian, but
I didn't raise you guys that way. You were probably, with me, you've only been to church one time in your entire life. Do you remember when that was?
nope. Probably when I was either in mom's stomach or I was
Uncle
one.
Jack's funeral.
Oh, yeah. I remember
When I
that.
took you up to my Uncle Jack's funeral. That's the only time that I've ever taken you to church.
And we can say his name because we won't get flagged.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're just saying first names. You're not outing nobody. You're not giving names and address. How many Bills are there in this world?
I don't know.
How many Aidens are there? How many Paytons are there? How many?
Patty Ricks.
You understand? You're not outing nobody. All right. I've always had this thing inside me where I guess you could say I kind of act like I'm being watched. Like I always act as if somebody's watching. And you'll realize that if you act that way, you'll find that you do the right thing more often. Because nobody wants to get caught doing something they're not supposed to be doing, right? So all my life, no matter what I was doing, I always kind of acted as if somebody was watching. And it didn't matter. Like, I'm not saying like dad or the neighbor. I'm not saying like that. I'm talking about the higher power. Somebody is always watching. Doesn't matter what you do. He knows what you're doing. He knows what you're thinking. He knows when you did it, why you did it. You cannot lie to him. You cannot lie to anybody but yourself. Right? So I kind of always have lived and acted as if I was being watched. And it's not a bad way to be, but at the same time it can kind of hinder you. Stop you from doing things that you should do when you know you need to do it. But you just got to know how to sort through it and see what you need to do and what you don't need to do, or what you need to say and what you don't need to say. You understand? I've kind of always, like I said, I've kind of always acted like God was watching. Because I do tell you guys that there is a God. Now, you can say, well, yeah, I believe there's a God. And you would probably say the same thing. And most people out there will say, either I believe or I don't believe. Right? Belief is irrelevant when it comes to me. I don't believe in God. And I don't believe in the devil. Do you want to know why I don't believe in either one of them?
Because they're both the same person.
Because I know. I don't have to believe. I know for a fact God exists. And I know for a fact the devil exists. They're the same person. It's a coin. Flip it over, heads and tails. You know what I'm saying? One side's God, the other's the devil. He says, I create the good, I create the evil. He says it right there in the Bible. Okay? I follow the Bible, and I use its wisdom as much as I can. Okay? And I will say this. I started reading it again in the last few years because when I was younger and reading it and stuff, I found gaps in it. Not what some people call contradictories. I found gaps where they'd say something and then it would stop and the next sentence would pick up and it's like, whoa, 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 what happened between here and there? Right?
Right.
And then I watched a podcast and the guy that was on that made me think.
Is that Peterson?
Yes. He made me think he made me look at it from a different perspective. Like he made me understand the psychological portion of it. So I started going back into it myself and reading into it more. And it's actually set me on a journey where I'm doing, where I'm looking into other stuff. Okay, for example, know your enemy, right? I'm even trying to do some into, I guess you could say, the one of the guys whose stuff that I'm watching because he himself is he's a professor, a teacher, right? And he himself all his life has been studying it. He studies Greek, the ancient Greek language and stuff. And he's reading the Bible before it was translated into Hebrew and then into English. Okay? So let's go back to the origins. You know what I'm saying? And get the truth, because if you want more truth about the Old Testament, not so much Jesus, but the Old Testament, then you got to look further back than Greek. Okay? But if you want the truth on Jesus and the real Bible, you got to go to Greek. The Greek Bible will tell you more.
Didn't they refer to Jesus as like Zeus or something?
No. The word Jesus actually means Hail Zeus. Is what it actually means. His name was Yeshua.
And
Okay. Anyhow, but the reason I'll tell you that I don't believe in God, I know He exists, is because I met Him. You don't just have to look around and see everything in creation to know He exists. All right? But I met Him, plain and simple. It ain't like He was a person in the flesh, and it ain't like He really said anything to me. I just knew it was Him. You understand? Like, remember I told you, the doctors had to resuscitate me. I was officially dead. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
He exists. I can't explain what I saw because I was only like 2 years old at the time. But I can remember it. Okay? I can remember it. There was no face. It was just light. It was warmth. It was peace. Okay? It wasn't like a bright white light. No. It was actually almost like being outside in the daylight. Everything just seemed normal. But there was this being there almost as if he was made entirely out of light. And his presence wasn't frightening or anything. He was just there. It was calm. And I knew it wasn't my time. I knew I was going back. You know what I'm saying? I just knew this stuff. It was crazy. So I know he exists. And I'm pretty sure I've met the devil too. Different circumstances, you know?
I got you.
It might not have been him exactly, but I was in hell at the time that I met him, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Life is on the highway.
So much back this. Hell.
Anyways, I know I'm not that big and all that, but go check out Jordan Peterson. Good Bible study. Timcast RL. Good news. Ben Shapiro, great man.
You don't gotta give all these people shout outs, son.
Well, we've mentioned him.
I'm just saying, I try not to. I don't wanna say something and then someone come back and be like, he said this about me and I never said that. So I would rather just not say their names. I would rather say, look, this guy, he studies ancient Greek, he's a philosopher in it or whatever. And I say, he knows more than I do. And when he puts the Greek alphabet there and he's teaching you how to read it, and then he shows you the Bible and he shows you the excerpt, and then he pulls up the Greek Bible right beside you, right beside it on the screen, and he says, this is what's cut out. And he reads it to you and you're like, oh damn, that makes sense now. And then he'll turn around and say, I love Jesus, man. Hail Satan. You know what I'm saying? The same guy in the same breath. So, now, I'm not in no way, sense, or form a devil worshiper, but I don't believe even if I did, he would interfere in my life. God doesn't interfere in our lives if you think about it, okay? I mean, he does to a degree. But for the most part, when you want to build a house, you grab a shovel, or you go and you rent the material, like a backhoe or whatever, and you start digging, right? Because you got to get down a certain amount, find solid ground, level it off, and put a solid foundation, correct?
Correct.
Okay. What about the ants that lived in that ground that you just dug up? What about the mole?
Oh
Or the field mouse?
no! Oh
We don't think about that, do we? We just go ahead and do what we're going to do, right?
Like nature, yeah.
God treats us the same way. That's why when a tidal wave comes along, okay, yeah, God's a murderer. He murdered all of us.
no!
But
You hear about it?
we're ants. You know what I'm saying?
A real
He
one?
gave us this planet. He gave us this planet. This planet has everything that we need to sustain life. Okay? You don't need a car. You don't need a bike. You don't need a video game system or a TV. What do you need? Food, shelter, clothing,
How to survive.
people that you can rely on.
This
And believe me,
person you didn't wrong.
Listen, people are community animals. You know what I'm saying? We're animals, don't get it wrong. And we're community oriented. It's not good for anyone to be alone. Being alone for too long does something to somebody, man. We need people. We need love. And like I've told you also before, you should have no hate in your heart. Like when you were at school the other day and you're like, I'm starting to hate him. I'm like, no, you resent, or you say I hate him, not starting to. And I say, no, you resent him. You're resenting what he's doing, and that can lead to hate. That's why you gotta stop it before it gets there. You don't let something build up and sit there in silence and then explode like a fucking volcano. Alright? What you do is, someone says something to you that's off or does something that's off, you check them. Plain and simple. You know? You don't have to get into a fight with them. You just, hey, you do understand I'm standing here, right? I'd appreciate if you back off and give me some room. Checking them. You're putting them in check. Like, hey, back off. This could go somewhere that you don't want it to go and I don't want it to go. Right? That's keeping them in check. That's letting them know that you're not going to be walked on. Because if they think they can walk on you, they will. And they'll keep going and they'll keep going and they'll keep going until they hit that solid no. The question is, where is your no solid at? You understand? If you're getting upset about something that somebody is doing over and over and over again, and you're just getting more and more upset about it without saying nothing, then it's your fault. It's not their fault, it's yours. Because you allowed them to do it.
Didn't say anything. So it's
And
your
then
fault.
then you just build up and build up and build up. You get mad and you hurt them, whether it's words or physical. And did you do it because they pissed you off, or did you do it because you pissed you off? I mean, because you could have stopped the bullshit when it first started. You're the one who let it get this far. So did he piss you off, or did you piss you off? It's the same thing when you get a girl. She's gonna test you. You're gonna have to let her know. No means no.
Not my limits. You
I-
got my limits.
Look, just because you touch my dicky doesn't mean I don't have standards. It doesn't mean I don't have expectations. You're still gonna do what I require to be done. If I say, don't sit in that chair, you don't sit in that chair. It doesn't matter why. I told you not to sit in it. Maybe that was where my dad used to sit and he died. And I don't like nobody sitting in that chair. But I don't need to tell you that. All I need to tell you is, don't sit in that chair. And you should respect that. You set solid boundaries. And you have a firm no. And there's nothing wrong with that. And you do that with everybody. I do it with you. Have I not whooped you before? Why have I whooped you? You're my son. I don't get up in the morning and say, man, I'm going to whoop my son's ass today. I told you not to do something. And you did it. Plain and simple. I said no. You crossed the boundary. You paid the consequence. Right? And it's the same. What's the consequence for the action? Depends on what they did. Right? She had sex with another man. Bye. Have a nice life.
Bye. Have a great day.
She talked to another man in a way that you didn't like. Hey, listen, hon. You pull her aside. Hey, listen. I'm not going to disrespect you in front of people like you just disrespected me. But I don't appreciate you flirting with other guys the way you're flirting with that guy in front of me. If you want to be with him, go be with him. This is done. But don't ever try that shit in front of me again. You gave her the respect of not calling her out in front of everybody. She does it again. Didn't we just talk about this? You know what? You can have her, dude. Go hit on some other girl right in front of her. Fuck her. You gotta have a solid boundary. You gotta know when to walk away. You gotta no. And if you let somebody keep going and going and going and going and going until you get to that point where you just can't take no more and you snap, it ain't nobody's fault but your own. Because you wanted to be the nice guy. You didn't want to hurt her feelings. You didn't want to see her cry when you said that.
That's weak.
Okay? The only reason she's crying is because she knows it bothers you and she's manipulating you. It didn't hurt her. There was no physical contact. Nobody died. What is she crying for? To manipulate you. No other reason.
But she's also pussy.
So, you gotta have a firm no. You gotta know when to say enough is enough. Nobody's gonna treat you any way that you don't let them treat you.
Alright. I'm gonna end this off with the note of today was cheeseburger day at McDonald's. I didn't get my 50-cent cheeseburger. I had a little Caillou fit.
Fat boy's worried about burgers.
You know, it ain't 12 o'clock yet.
He come out, they got burgers for 50 cents.
Oh my god, it's burger
Don't go
burger
Burger
time.
He come out, it's burger for 50 cents.
It's gonna be the new egg. It's gonna be the new egg of Burger King. Plus that on it. Be the gay pride one. Like the Citizen RQP or whatever. it's
Alright,
called.
don't be saying that. Someone will hear that and be like, yeah, someone in the background was talking shit, so we need to cancel this podcast now.
Freedom of speech. Hey, guess
Now,
what?
look, here's the thing, though. Okay, listen. Let's talk about freedom of speech for a moment. Okay?
I just ended this little food.
Nobody owns words.
Yeah.
No group of people own a word. You understand? You can say whatever you want. The thing is, there are things that you shouldn't say just because it could hurt somebody's feelings, and you wouldn't want somebody to hurt your feelings, so why would you say something and hurt their feelings, right? It goes back to the golden rule. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Right? Okay. Now, back to the whole freedom of speech thing. It's like anything else in this lifetime. Okay? There are words that you shouldn't say because they might hurt somebody or whatever, but hang on a second, I lost my train of thought. It's like anything else, right? Just because you can do something doesn't necessarily mean you should. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
It's like I tell you guys all the time. You should be your absolute best. As strong as you can. Learn how to fight. Mixed martial arts, boxing, whatever you got to do, right? Be able to be capable of causing great damage if you have to, but choose not to. Right? That is the thing. You want to choose not to. But just because I can do something doesn't mean I have to. So I choose not to do this. Right? And it's the same thing with talking. Just because you can say a word and you have freedom of speech does not mean that you should use that word. Especially if you're going to hurt somebody with it.
God.
Okay? Like the N-word, for example.
Here we go. Hey guys, thanks for enjoying me. I'm getting canceled.
When I was younger, a young kid growing up, back in the 80s, we knew we didn't say it. You know what I'm saying?
You getting jumped.
We knew we didn't say it because it was hurtful. And if you said it to the wrong person and hurt their feelings, they'd punch you in the face. Now you're fighting. Why? Because you had to show that you can say a word?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. You don't need to say it, right? It doesn't mean that in my lifetime I have never said it or anything close to it or different variants of it. Whether playing around, joking, or whatever, I have said it. Okay? It's not a word that I say to this day the same way I did back then or whatever.
Piglets, take away the pee.
It ain't a word that I say. I haven't said it in a long time. Right? The way I did when I was a kid, joking around. But it was always, when it was, kids in a group. And I got news for you. A lot of times when we did it, there was a whole group of us, black and white, and there were white jokes being thrown around and black jokes, okay? But it didn't matter. We were friends, we played, we had fun, and it was all in good, clean fun, right? We never said it to hurt each other, stuff like that. It was never like that. But it is an ignorant word. And the biggest joke that there is about that is this, okay? Think about this now, because this is funny. All right. Back in that time, only rich people owned slaves. Not every single person who was white owned a slave. Only rich people.
There were white slaves.
Okay? And there were rich black people who owned slaves. All right. So we know not everybody owned slaves. And the word came out. You looked it up in the dictionary, it simply meant dirty person. Okay? This is what the word meant. Dirty person. So you called them that to degrade them and make them feel like less, right? You're a dirty person. All right, but he was the slave, or she was the slave, right? Who cleaned that house?
Maids.
Not the white people. So who were the real dirty ones?
Black people.
You understand what I'm saying?
I'm not saying that they were dirty. Don't take that out of context.
And they were
you two.
fucking lazy. I'm too lazy to do my own work. Pick that car. I'm serious. So they were lazy and they were dirty.
Go get me some watermelon.
Okay, I'm not saying that they didn't do any work at all. I'm sure that they themselves did work. All right. But it wasn't the same. And they were the rich people. It wasn't the average person. The average person did not own slaves. All right. And I'll tell you both, I've said it before, and this is the only time I'm going to say it on video like this. My mother was a slave. Literally. My natural born mother was a slave. You understand that? She was kidnapped very young, off the reservation, and sold. She was a slave. All there is to it.
Yeah, for the hell.
I don't even have her name,
Hell Angels.
her real name, because after it all ended, they had to change her name and everything. So I only know the changed name and the married name. I don't know the original name. I just know it was part of the Seminole tribe in Florida. That's all I know.
Yeah, with the Hell Angels.
No, that was my dad's group. But anyhow, it was a dirty word, and that's where it came from, right? The point still is that it's not a nice word, right? And there's no reason to say it. It has no other meaning other than to offend. That's its entire purpose, right? So if its entire purpose is to offend, there's no point in saying it, unless you're trying to offend somebody. And if you're trying to offend somebody, go ahead, use the word freely. Whatever consequences come your way is on you.
Oh God.
And that doesn't mean like the law should be able to step into it and force you to not say that word or punish you for it, because you have freedom of speech. But if people say, hey man, I don't like this guy, I'm not going to shop at his store, that's on them. You know what I'm saying? Vote with your dollars. If this guy at this corner market doesn't like me, like the time we went into that gas station, and my brother had his hat on, I'm not talking about my brother, you know, my brother had his hat on, and it said something about Marines, and the guy over the counter said something to him about you're a baby killer or some shit like that, and I'm like, dude, we don't need to fucking shop here, let's go.
Who said that?
Some Arab guy behind the counter.
Oh. Terrorist.
All right, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. He was of Arab descent. You know what I mean? He still had a bit of the accent, and he saw the hat, called him a baby killer or something to that tune, and I was like, let's go. We ain't shopping here. If that's the way you want to act around me, I'm not gonna shop in your store. My money's just as green as yours. It don't matter what you think about me. If you think bad about me, keep it to yourself. Make it known. Face the consequences. I won't shop here. You hate me? Why should I give you my money? It ain't like, look, if he would attack me in any way, I'd have gladly put an end to him right then and there. On camera. Because it would have showed him attacking me and me just doing what I had to do. But it didn't go that far.
Thankfully. Now, guys, don't worry. He's
But
got an
anyhow.
RPG under the desk.
But anyhow, the point is, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Just because you can say something doesn't mean you should. You know? Everybody else has boundaries too. You should respect theirs. The way you expect them to respect yours. You know? It's like some people, they want to come out and give you an attitude to be pissed off that you didn't respect them. How the fuck can I respect you when you're disrespecting me? You know? You gotta give respect to get it. That's all there is to it. People say it's earned, but it's earned by giving respect.
Right.
Plain and simple.
Alright. So, we'll leave it here on this note. Fat boy wanted cheeseburgers. Fat boy didn't get cheeseburgers. Fat boy depressed. Fat boy go bye-bye. Thank you guys. Have a great night.
More like Fat Boy oppressed. Oppressed by the news for not giving me my burger. Fuck, I got a burger.
Alright. Peace out, everybody.